Welcome back to the webcast. We are talking everything week 2 of the NFL and doing our week 3 picks. We have our first guest in studio. That's Jacob, that's Doug, and I'm Adam. Let's go. All right, welcome back to the webcast, all sports, one web. Every Tuesday, we are doing our live picks through ESPN. So go ahead and make your account on ESPN Pick'em so that you can make your picks along with us, and we can see our records there at the end of the season. We'll be doing it each week. On Tuesdays, we do the NFL. On Wednesdays, we do the Premier League. And on Fridays, we catch you up with all of the college football picks. Last week, I was by myself doing our first webcast Pick'em for week 2 in the NFL, and we went 8-8. Okay, not the greatest record there, but you know, it's somewhere to start. So we will be entering week 3 here, and as we go through the picks, we will give you a little bit of recap of our week 2 action. But Doug, welcome to the podcast for your first NFL one, and Jacob, our first guest in studio here in the webcast. Welcome. How did you guys enjoy the second week of the NFL this past weekend?
It was awesome. There was a lot of really good football.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here. Yeah. What a crazy week though. I picked a good episode to join because there was high drama all around the league.
That is for sure. We'll touch on Tua's historic day, the Jets' historic day, I guess, but the Browns being the Browns, the only way that they know how, and all of the great matchups that were in week 2, as we will dive in here to our week 3 picks. And kicking off Thursday night this week is the 1-1 Steelers traveling up north to take on Jacoby Brissett and the Browns. Doug, I know you were pushing for a Browns win this past weekend. Up to they score a touchdown with 1 minute and 55 seconds to go, and of course they missed the extra point in their home opener, only to allow Joe Flacco to go down the field in 17 seconds to score a touchdown. Then the Jets recover the first onside kick of the season, and then they score another touchdown with 20 seconds left to seal it. That is 2 touchdowns in the span of 1 minute.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing on that onside kick either. It seemed like everybody was afraid to go get the ball.
Yeah,
it's like they didn't want it to go 10 yards, but instead of just attacking it, they just wanted to not go 10 yards. But then when it did, Amari Cooper was kind of already sitting on his butt and couldn't really get it. It was weird.
I know, right? And I remember last year, especially with the onside kicks, as the kickers now get really creative with the way that they're going to kick off. They put the ball on the side, they go one way and kick it the other way. And I remember last year, someone in the studio of one of the games was breaking down how the team who's recovering the onside kick, how each player has an almost designated role. And there is one person whose role is to go get the ball. So from your perspective, Jacob, like, would you be okay? Like, should you tell your team to go go get the ball before it crosses 10 yards, or are you going to wait 10 yards as the receiving team?
Yeah, that's a tough situation to be in. I haven't seen an onside kick like that where they put the ball on its side. And yeah, when the kicker gets it right and it's close, you're not sure if it's going to make it that 10 yards that fast. I don't want to be in that situation to try to pick it up. That's not a role I would step up for.
Yeah. See, my whole thing with it is, I think that, I mean, why not so if you're the Browns, throw Amari Cooper up there on the line and say, go get the ball when you can, whether that's before it reaches 10 yards. So none of the Jets players can touch it until after it reaches the 10 yards. And so that gives him the first crack at it. It seemed like this one went past 10 yards, bounced a little bit, and then the Jets were able to fall on it. So I would be more inclined to tell them to go get it. And it kind of reminds me of Liverpool hiring a throw-in coach for last year. One of the first teams to hire a coach purely to do throw-ins. And maybe this needs to be something that's added on in the future to just teach hands.
I mean, back in the old days, they would everybody would be lined up, and you would have a few designated players that are just to go get the ball. But nobody from the Browns went and just blew up the Jets to try and make sure that they can't do anything and nobody can come get the ball. Nobody did that. It was just Amari Cooper waiting for it to go 10 yards.
Yeah,
and that was just so weird to me.
Yeah. Where is the blowing up of people? We need that.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. I mean, especially to be the first team to not only they miss an extra point, guys. This goes into overtime if they don't just miss an extra point. Okay. It's the most Browns thing ever. Fumbling on the 1 yard line in the AFC Championship game. And then this. I think those are the rankings for me in terms of Brown history. But this weekend we have the Steelers without TJ Watt traveling to the Browns in the AFC North, both 1-1 after the Browns got that great victory over the Bengals to be 1-0 in the division. Doug, who do you got in this Thursday's matchup, Steelers or Browns?
I think Jacoby Brissett played pretty well. And I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt is still the best running back duo in the league. I think they can do it. I know Jadeveon Clowney got hurt, but so did TJ Watt. They still have Myles Garrett, so it's not like they're empty. I'd like to see the Browns win this game. I think that they have a chance to win it. And I think that coming back from a loss like that, I think they'll be able to turn it around.
Yeah, I could see it. My thing is I have no faith in Mitch Trubisky. I don't know.
That too.
I have no faith in him. I watched that Bengals Steelers game opening weekend very closely. And to get 5 turnovers and only score 20 points. And it wasn't that they were, picking it off or getting a fumble recovery, when the Bengals were in the red zone. They had great field position to start each one of those drives predominantly. Only walk away with 20 points. And on top of that, you lose TJ Watt. We saw how ineffective, not ineffective, I guess I should say, but Steelers losing last week. And I would go with the Browns as well. I think that I like Jacoby Brissett, but I just have no faith in Mitch Trubisky overall.
Yeah.
Marson.
Yeah, the AFC North is a crapshoot right now. Every team's 1-1. It's just, I don't know what's going on.
Except the Bengals.
The one team.
Bengals.
The one team you would have expected to be 2-0 at this point.
The Bengals have a serious issue with their offensive line. They need help.
Yes. To continuously give up 5+ sacks in every of the last 6 games is not something that will win you football games. Houston just seems, with Mr. Mills there at quarterback, just seems to just defy the odds. The Bears, after their San Francisco win, got another drubbing by Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers there at Atlanta on Sunday night.
He still owns
them.
I've always owned you.
Change the name now of Soldier Field. But we got the Texans traveling to the Bears here. This one is very interesting for me just because I feel like they're two teams that are kind of trying to figure out their identity. The Bears losing Allen Robinson in the offseason, kind of putting together some more wide receiver and running back combos, playing with no real main number one in either position, it seems like. And the Texans just seem like they're trying to recover from the terrible job that Bill O'Brien did, gutting that entire team as the coach, general manager that he's done the previous 5 or so years. But any thoughts on Texans Bears from you?
I think I like Bears here. Justin Fields is strong. I was hoping as a guy from San Francisco that the Niners would have picked him up over Trey Lance, but yeah, I have faith. I have Ohio State faith, and I think the Bears will win this one.
All right, Michigan fan, you have faith in the Ohio State quarterback himself, Justin Fields, to take the win at home against the Texans?
I do. I think he's good. I think he's getting better. He's on a pretty crappy team. He had 2 coaches in 2 years. So it's tough to really get into a system, especially when you go in from college to NFL and you're an NFL style system at Ohio State. So I think he's gonna settle in, and he's just too athletic. I think the Texans are too bad right now, and Justin Fields can make things happen with his feet, and I think they get the win on this one.
Yeah. See, the thing is about the Texans, you play the Colts to a draw where they were competitive the entire game. They play the Broncos to 16-9 game in Denver and Russell Wilson's opening game. They play him close. Mills seems like he is capable enough to take that team. Brandon Cooks, the number one wide receiver, has had a great start to the season. This one's tough for me. This one's very tough. I am outruled even if I do pick the Texans by you guys. So nice part about having 3 people on the panel. So the webcast will pick the Bears to win, but I think that this one will be another close one. It just seems like the Texans, that is the way that they go this year. Next, what to do with the Raiders and the Titans? Okay, we looped these guys in with the Bengals as 3 teams that we had no expectation of starting the year 0-2. Last year, 7 teams started the season 0-2. Not a single one was able to recover and make the playoffs. And that is even in a 17-game season that we started last year in the NFL. Do either of these teams rebound for either of you to be competitive in what is obviously a competitive division in the AFC West for the Raiders and what seems to be competitive for Tennessee in the AFC South with Jacksonville starting the way they have, Houston being able to battle, and the Colts, who almost were the favorites, just seem somewhere in limbo?
Yeah, you brought up that stat that no 0-2 team last year made the playoffs, and I cannot see that happening this year. Like, there's too many good teams that just haven't gotten a win yet. For these 2 teams, I think the stat might hold up. I think the Raiders can turn it around. I have faith in Derek Carr. I think he's super strong. Him getting Devontae Adams is not a small issue. Titans, it's tough to be critical on them after who they played last week, but they're not looking good right now.
Yeah, to get drubbed by the Bills 41-7 last night, Doug. Are you betting on the Titans to turn it around?
That was pretty bad. I mean, that was really bad. I think the Raiders they let the game against Arizona slip away, kind of like the Browns did. They should have won that game. They're better than being 0-2. Same thing with the Titans. I think they're better than 0-2, but maybe not after that game last night. But I see nothing else but a Raiders win.
Nothing else but a Raiders win. Yeah, the thing that gets me with Tennessee, even though they'll be returning home again after blowing their home opener a couple weeks ago, they just look too one-dimensional now that A.J. Brown is gone. We saw him, what he can add to Philadelphia's offense when they got the win last night. Julio Jones, yes, he definitely looks more like himself now back in Tampa. Maybe, over the summer, phoned up Tom Brady for that TB12 method, got his body nice and lean and ready to go. So I think he looks completely different than he did in Tennessee. AJ Brown gone. Every time they line up, you're like, okay, run right. All right, run up the middle. I mean, I don't see, and then, Ryan Tannehill just continuously throws interceptions in big moments, it seems like. Reason why the Bengals won, in my opinion, last year in the playoffs. And so I agree with you. I think the Raiders will be taking this one, even away from home, purely because Tennessee's offense looks a little bit anemic in a way to start the season, being one-dimensional.
I agree.
An offense that does not look any bit out of sort, despite losing their arguable number one wide receiver, is the Kansas City Chiefs. Start off 2-0, 2 great wins to start the season off. We got 90% picked. The Colts starting off 1-1, drawing against Houston, losing last week as well in just terrible fashion to Jacksonville. What was it? 20-0, I think it was. Oh, no. Yeah. And so I don't know if you would have anything but a Kansas City victory in this one.
No, Mahomes is too good. That sidearm pass he had the other day, oh, my God. I could watch that all day long. He's just too good. He's best player in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to beat the Chargers the way that they did in a very close, gritty game, to kind of grind it out with the defense, getting some stops there. How confident are you, Doug, in your Chiefs being able to continue their dominance not only in the AFC West, but in the entire AFC?
Yeah, I don't see a problem. I really don't see a problem. I think the Chargers is our problem. And we just showed that we can beat them. So I'm not really worried about the AFC really at all.
Oh, not even the Bills. Not even the Bills.
The Bills, I mean, I think we will see the Bills in the AFC Championship. And
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, I think we'll see them in the AFC Championship
That was
game.
the best playoff game I've ever watched in my life.
Yep, and I think it would be exactly the same. Our biggest problem is our defense. We can score on anybody.
Yeah, it's just whether or not you can keep Mahomes upright and get a couple of stops, I feel like is the only thing keeping them, which is why personally I have, just because of the division, I have the Bills hosting the AFC Championship game this year. Again, we will getting to our playoff picks in January once all of the regular season kind of figures itself out. We gave you our division winners for each division. Don't count out the Steelers. # Kenny Pickett from Brett. We did count out the Steelers, but wow, what an amazing
We've definitely counted
Pickett
out Mitch Trubisky, so maybe it is Kenny Pickett time.
The Steelers. Yeah, maybe it is. Let us know when you think Kenny Pickett will be the permanent starter this season. If you think it'll happen, let us know in the comments there. But thank you for the comment there, Brett. Yeah, I have the Bills in the AFC Championship game hosting purely because of their schedule compared to the Chiefs, who have a daunting schedule. But we do have them here being 3-0 after picking up a win against the Colts. As we move on to the Bills versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins not only put on a defensive and offensive show against Bill Belichick and the Patriots in week 1 with a commanding victory there. I mean, it always seems like Miami beats the Patriots down there. And then we got Tyreek Hill with, for all you fantasy owners out there, posted up, I believe, 32 fantasy points in the final 10 minutes of this week's game to cap a 6-touchdown performance from Tua, tying Dan Marino's record for the Dolphin franchise as they came back and beat the Ravens in Baltimore. What a performance for them. What were your thoughts on that performance?
Yeah, so Lamar was doing Lamar things the whole game. I love him. Ravens had no business losing that game, obviously. But they deserved it. Their secondary was how do you let Tyreek do that 2 times in a row? He just ran by them twice. It wasn't even close. They weren't even trying to stay with it. It's not like he just outran them. They weren't even. Yeah, I don't see Tua having that performance again. That is a calamity of errors by the Ravens secondary, and I don't see the Bills making those mistakes.
Yeah, so Doug, Ravens blew a 21-point lead to enter the fourth quarter there to the Dolphins. The Bills have punted only in 3 of their last 7 games. In 4 of their last 7 games, they didn't punt once. Okay? So do you see the Bills going down there and handing Miami their first loss of the season?
Yeah, as much as I don't want to say it, I do think that they're going to. I think Tua played pretty well. I know there was some blown coverages, but, he still did make a lot of good throws. And
absolutely,
Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are out of this world fast. And he's hitting them in stride.
Yeah, can we talk about Jalen Waddle for a second here? Because for those who watch the webcast here for all of our episodes, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Wednesday, we cover the Premier League. And Doug and I especially, are big fans of not only Mitrovic, who plays for Fulham, but his beautiful celebration right there. There it is. It is beautiful. But I have a contender here with Jalen Waddle and his double meaning celebration where he does a dolphin pose and waddles at the same time. That is magical and brilliant. I think I have a new favorite celebration. And for both of them to pair that up with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, I mean, they can hit you in many different ways, and it is quick. And I love it, and I'm here for it. But go on. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, I agree. I do love that celebration. It's amazing. But I think the only problem with Miami, well, obviously their defense isn't, they didn't stop the Ravens very well, but they don't really have a run game. And so they're going to rely completely on Tua. And he now has the weapons to do it, but I don't know if he can do it game in and game out against a team like the Bills. So that's why I think the Bills win this game. And I mean, punting in 3 times in 7 games or whatever that stat was. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty insane. I am a little bit more of a believer there in Gaskin in Miami, but I guess we will see how he will fare against Von Miller and that defense that put a beat down yesterday in Monday Night Football there in Buffalo, but having to travel now to Miami. So the webcast pick for this game will be the Bills, unanimously there, all 3 of us. Detroit versus Minnesota. Minnesota with what looked like a dominating performance against Green Bay in week 1. We know Green Bay kind of seems like they flutter in week 1, maybe due to Aaron Rodgers and his lack of preparation before the season. Last year getting thumped by Tampa, Jameis Winston. This year getting thumped by Minnesota. Everyone was high. Everyone had the expectations of Kevin O'Connell going in there as a head coach of Minnesota, bringing that spread offense with the weapons that they got and just going for it. But man, did they get kind of clamped down by Mr. Slay last night in Philadelphia in that performance. Detroit just seems like, before the season, I felt like they didn't have that brand name star, really. They were kind of
no Megatron.
Some good play, no Megatron, but St. Brown with a great performance last week.
St. Brown. Remember that name.
Remember that name and pair that with DeAndre Swift. And it seems like they have 2 budding stars there at their own position. We talk about, the great young players at wide receiver across the league, even in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson. And St. Brown just seems like he is trying to enter that category with his performances for the first 2 weeks as they are 1-1. But Doug, who do you got here as Detroit will take on Minnesota in the battle of the 1-1s?
This may be the unpopular opinion, but I watched that Lions game and I watched them almost beat the Eagles. And they are the real deal. I think they have a solid chance this year. I think their defense is hungry. Aiden Hutchinson, he's a menace. He's doing what he did at Michigan. I think the Lions can win this game.
Wow, that is bold. Justin Jefferson with 5 targets last night against the Eagles, 1 reception, and Kirk Cousins was picked off twice.
Yeah.
In that battle there, you see Justin Jefferson with a bounce back game, maybe getting close to those 152 touchdowns he had against Green Bay, or do you think Hutchinson and Detroit will go in there and do what Philadelphia did last night?
Yeah, so I think Kirk Cousins was a little bit unlucky last night, but he puts himself in these situations where he's throwing so many close passes that it's bound to go wrong. And
I know. How can he fit those windows to Thielen and miss a long pass to Jefferson 3 consecutive times?
It's like he does the really hard stuff, and then he's not fundamental. I think it'll be a close game, though. I think Justin Jefferson's able to do a little bit more than he was able. Like the Eagles shut him down. Like that was some impressive coverage.
Big game slate.
But yeah, I think. Yeah, like Doug said, like we might be in the minority here. It doesn't seem like too many people are back in the Lions. I think they edged this one out. I do think it's going to be a close game, though.
It'll be a great game.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely disagree with both of you personally.
Okay.
But I think that Minnesota, new head coach, their offense, the high of the preseason with how exciting it was going to be, a defensive team kind of switching to an offensive mindset with Thielen, with Cook, with Justin Jefferson after his rookie performance. They were going to go high fly through the season. They did that against Green Bay. And then the NFL hit them straight in the mouth on the road for the first time with that group all together against a team that we think here on the webcast is actually going to be the NFC East champions in the Philadelphia Eagles, representing them in the playoffs. And they just got hit in the face. And I think that they will be able to regroup, even if it's on a short week, and really figure out, their plan of attack. And I mean, there were some throws. It seemed like either the read wasn't correct, the progression wasn't correct. But Kirk Cousins was trying to push the ball into an area when if he just scanned to the other side of the field, he had a wide open Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen starting to peel away. And yeah, it's true. But I feel like, in a new offense, Kevin O'Connell and Kirk Cousins will figure that out a little bit. And I think they will be able to utilize their talents and get a comfortable win in this one. I am outnumbered, though. And I did go 8-8 last week. So we were good to select the Lions here in this one as the webcast pick. The Ravens and the Patriots, the great matchups of the late 2000s into the 2010s with all of those great matchups. Back in Foxborough, after both teams lost to the Dolphins in the first 2 weeks. And when they didn't play the Dolphins, they won. So they don't play the Dolphins this week, but which one's going to get the win for you, Doug, on this one?
I got Ravens big in this one.
Ravens big. So no Belichick to clamp down on Lamar Jackson and that run offense. Do you agree with Doug on this one?
Yeah, so I've liked the Ravens historically, and I just see it going two ways. Lamar Jackson is going to be rattled, right? How could you not be rattled after what just happened? But as long as he played a hell of a game, and as long as he just knows and stays confident with his own game, I think we'll be fine. There's no one on the Patriots like Tyreek Hill that is our defense might not show up again. But I think Lamar will be able to score enough to make it not matter. I see the Ravens winning this game, but I'm worried about this bounce back game. That was brutal.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's going to make the locker room really upset, especially that pride of the team is on the defensive side of the ball. And the special teams, even last week, starting everything off under John Harbaugh with that touchdown return. The Ravens were winning that game for all but 22 seconds when the Dolphins were winning, and 7 seconds while it took them to run the kickoff back. So a total of 29 seconds where the Ravens were either tied or losing, and they pick up the L last week. We got 3 unanimous here for the Ravens to revenge their Dolphin loss against the Patriots in Foxborough. All right. I mean, this one just seems like an easy one now that the Bengals are 0-2, traveling to the Jets with Joe Flacco in magisterial form, closing out the game against the Ravens. And the Bengals, obviously 0-2. You can just sign the death note for them making the playoffs based on last year's history. Are they bouncing back, though, picking up a win?
Yeah, so we talked about the 0-2 stat again. This was the team in mind that I had. I don't see Joe Burrow missing the playoffs after making it to the Super Bowl in his sophomore year. He is too good. He's too cocky. He's too confident. He's going to find a way. He's got so many weapons on his team. I think Bengals bounce back in a huge way. They get their first win. Just crazy to say in week 3. Joe Flacco's not going to do what he did against the Browns. I love Joe Flacco, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising that we're saying that the Bengals are 0-2 and the Jets are 1-1 going into this one, but is that going to be 1-2 for each at the end of this week, Doug?
I think so. The Bengals have way too many weapons. It's just their offensive line, and I think they're going to get that figured out. But I don't think the Jets really have anybody to terrorize that offensive line like they have been.
Garrett Wilson!
No, the offensive line. He's a receiver.
The offensive line. Oh, okay. Sorry.
I believe Garrett Wilson's going to be great.
Pounced on that one.
But I think the O-line's going to bounce back big because the O-line's been the reason they've lost for the past 2 years. Any game they lose, it's basically been the O-line.
To give up that many sacks continuously. You know, we were told that they were restructuring that offensive line this offseason.
Yeah,
only one remaining player returning from last year, and still giving up 5+ sacks in both their opening 2 games.
Yeah, that's got to be brutal to see as a Bengals fan. They were so excited that it was going to be different.
Yep. All right, but we got 3 yeses here on the webcast for the Bengals to pick up their first win of the season. And as we enter the NFC battle between 2 of the top teams in Philadelphia and Washington in that division, Philadelphia obviously doing what they did last night on Monday Night Football. Do you have anyone in this division stopping the Eagles, and are Washington included in that?
Jalen Hurts is the real deal, I think. I don't know where that came from. I haven't been watching him so closely, but he is playing out of his mind right now. He can do no wrong. I see them comfortably winning their division.
I've been watching since he was a freshman at Alabama, and I thought he was the best quarterback to play at Alabama. And then Tua came in and took his job. Right. And I to this day don't agree with that. Tua takes him, Jalen Hurts takes him to the championship. Then Tua comes in at halftime, ends up playing the rest of the game. Tua starts the rest of the next year. And then Jalen Hurts has to come in and win against Georgia. I think, and then he goes to Oklahoma and does amazing. I think Jalen Hurts is an amazing quarterback, and he's a great leader. And I think he's the real deal, and the Eagles have quite the franchise quarterback on their hands.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised with how his progression, he's burst on this, he's starting to get going, especially at the end of last year with the head coaching change and them rattling off a good number of wins. I think 6 of their last 7 to close out that season and grab that wild card spot. And the progression, I was expecting to stop, but it doesn't seem like it's stopping, and it keeps on going and going. Jalen Hurts of that draft class there with Tua, second among starting quarterbacks in overall win percentage. That includes Joe Burrow, by the way, and Joe Burrow is not number 1. Number 1 would be the 6-touchdown performance last week, Mr. Tua, the guy who took Jalen's job. All right, so give him some respect. Beating them all over the place, but I got as well the Eagles going 3-0 in this one as well. But yeah, the Saints with a good performance until the brawl with Mike Evans and LaShawn Lattimore in last week against Tampa. Seemed it was pretty close until then, and Tampa Bay pulled away late. Carolina 2 squeakers, but start off 0-2 as they are at home against the Saints. You got the Saints offense bouncing back and actually putting more than 1 quarter of offense together in this one against Carolina there, Doug.
I'm pretty sure Jameis Winston was playing with like a fractured back or something.
What? Really?
Yeah, I was unaware. I think he had something going on in his back, but it didn't look like it. I mean, he was playing pretty well until he started throwing all the interceptions and started looking like old Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I think he has changed a little bit, but he still shows that he has those big interceptions in him. He may throw 40 touchdowns, but he's going to throw 30 interceptions. So I don't know if he can get a handle on that. I know everybody likes the Saints in this game. I really want to pick the Panthers because I think they have the talent to do it, but the way they got beat last weekend, I have to go with the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston, it seemed like he may have put his interceptions behind him last year before his injury when he went 14 touchdowns and 3 picks. He threw 3 last game. So there goes that out the window. Baker Mayfield compared to Brett Favre on his draft night with his little stunt by staying at home, dressing in the nice jorts there to copy Brett Favre, the king of interceptions, the NFL leader there. Who's got more interceptions in this game, and then who takes the W? Right?
Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston is the wild card.
Famous Jameis.
He's the wild card of the NFL. Like he doesn't know what he's going to do. Like, no one knows what this guy's going to do. He can play out of his mind. He can look like one of the best quarterbacks in the league on his day. And then he can look like actually the worst quarterback in the entire league. Shouldn't even be like he did last week. I think he was horrible the whole game, honestly. I like Doug said, I kind of want to pick the Panthers. I think Baker might get lucky. Something will happen. But yeah, this is tough for me. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, Doug, who'd you end up leaning with on this one?
I went with the Saints. I think the Panthers have a lot of weapons, but they just never can seem to put it together. And so I'm going to pick the Saints.
Yeah. And you are leaning. Come on. We got 3 picks. We got to make them happen here.
I'll go Panthers.
Go Panthers. The cop-out answer so that I have to decide between famous Jameis and Baker. Plant the flag in Ohio State turf field. Lion, Cleveland Brown, reject player. I'm going Panthers. I agree.
Good.
I think
I'm glad.
Lattimore's going to be suspended, I believe. Mike Evans did get suspended. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the suspensions. Evans did get suspended. I'm not sure about Lattimore. If he will get the 1-game suspension. If he does, I definitely will pick the Panthers. I think he's just too integral to what they do in the back end. And I think that's going to just leave them a little bit open, as we saw against Tampa Bay. And I think Baker will pull it off. I'm big on the Saints this year, but I think they need a little bit more time to get up and running to get it going. So I will give Gritty Baker and the Carolina Panthers their first win in a close one. On that one, Jacksonville, how surprised have you been? Trevor Lawrence going like 24 of 27, multiple backs in the backfield, the $400 million man, Christian Kirk, coming through. 1-1 for them as they travel to the Chargers, who took a hard loss on Thursday night to the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Who do you got in this one?
This is a Chargers win. I mean,
give no chance to Jacksonville.
I mean, I'll give them a chance, but it's going to be a good game, I think. But the Chargers are going to win this game. I don't see there's not enough talent on Jacksonville to beat out the Chargers right now. I think they're definitely taking steps in the right direction, but not against the Chargers.
All right. I would have to agree with that one. I got the Chargers just kind of putting their quality, flexing a little bit, and taking down Jacksonville. Are you on board with that one?
I think it's exciting for the Jaguars that Trevor Lawrence looks like starting to feel comfortable in this league. I think that's awesome for them. It's unfortunate that they have to play such a good defense next week, and they can't continue that momentum. I don't think they'll be able to continue that momentum, and I think the Chargers win pretty easily. There may be a couple flashes of what we saw last week from the Jaguars, but I think that the Chargers will.
Yeah, I think they'll score. I think it'll be a good game. I just don't, I don't think it's going to be 42-14 or anything, but I think it will be a 28-14.
Yeah, if I had to guess, it'd be around there too.
Yeah. All right. There we go. The Chargers to pick up, bounce back from last week, which both the Rams and the Cardinals were able to do. The Cardinals in great fashion last week with their comeback win, and will take on division rivals and Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams down there in Arizona in Week 3. Who do you have in this one? I don't know what to make of either of these teams to start.
I can't believe that it's that one-sided, to be honest.
I think that 81%, 84%.
I think this might be the closest game of the week, to be like this. The Super Bowl hangover gets every team, it seems. I can't remember the last. I'm sure there's an example, but I can't remember the teams that don't have a little bit of a slow start to the season. The Rams do not look like what they're doing in the playoffs. I think Kyler Murray is always going to create chances. That comeback was insane. That 2-point conversion he had the other day where he ran like 80 yards just back and forth. It's
just for a flag to be
crazy.
Thrown.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's still impressive though. And I do think the Rams edge this out, but I think this is the closest game of the week.
Yeah, so you got the team who gave up 17 unanswered to the Falcons last week versus the team that scored 21 unanswered against the Raiders. Is that a recipe for disaster for the Rams? Are they just going to, give up 100 points in the fourth quarter to the Cardinals, and the Cardinals will take it easy? Or you think the Rams are going to go in there and get a win, Doug?
Well, I think the Cardinals have had a tough start to the schedule. They found out how tough the AFC West really is. They got beat by the Chiefs, and then they got beat by the Raiders. And then they went in and had to, fight and claw their way for a win against the Raiders. And it's not getting much easier with the Rams. And I think the Rams they're a much better team. They're much more solid. But the Cardinals are not bad. They're not as bad as they've kind of shown so far. But I do think the Rams are going to win this game.
Rams.
Yeah, I think they have too much talent.
You're going Cardinals, aren't you?
Yeah. You went Cardinals?
Did you?
No. I don't know what to make of this. Allen Robinson.
I'm going back and forth.
I know. Allen Robinson coming back a little bit after, poor week one, opening game of the season, coming back a little bit last week. Seems like getting integrated a little bit more, Cooper Kupp always doing his thing. That's a tough one. So tough. But I'm going to lean with Doug on this one and say that the Rams will get the win down there in Arizona. I think they'll put it together.
Yeah, it'll be a good game, though. I agree.
All right, well, that's 3 for the Rams on that one. We have the Battle of the Birds. Falcons playing everybody close and giving up leads all the time. Seems like a common theme with them. Seattle, great win. Opening week at home against Denver, falling this past week to 1-1, but hosting again in this one. Who do you got? Marcus Mariota or Geno Smith? Did Geno Smith get hurt as well? I don't remember, but if he's not, Geno Smith.
Geez, I'm gonna just go with the home team on this one. That I could see it going either way, though.
Yeah, definitely seems like the Falcons play close and Seattle plays close. So who do you got on this one, Doug?
Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. It's hard for a quarterback to look bad with, when they're throwing to those guys, because I don't know if you guys saw the one play where Geno just kind of threw it up and DK went and got it because he's better than everybody else. So I think Seattle's going to win this one at home, and I think mainly because it's at home.
Yeah, that's a tough place to go get a win, especially when your offense is running Marcus Mariota, a tight end that's in his second year, and that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Cordell Patterson, I guess, if you want to include him in that one. But, I will go with Seattle as well at home. Great. Always a great time when we get to see Aaron Rodgers take on Tom Brady. The Bucs will be without Mike Evans in this one after he decided to defend Tom Brady as his job, as he says, and get suspended and give his quarterback one less wide receiver to throw to, as Godwin also went down injured last week.
And Julio's didn't play last week.
And Julio is up in the air. Wow, that's tough. Yeah. They just signed someone, I think, off waivers this week as well.
Because they have
who that was, but
they have no receivers at the moment.
Yep.
And they're going to call Antonio Brown back.
That would be incredible. Could you imagine Tom Brady throwing to Antonio Brown on one side and Julio Jones on the other side? People from 2015 would lose their mind. Green Bay is decided to just not care about the wide receiver position and create a new position called the running back wide receiver and just throw checkdowns to A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones all the time for all of the touchdowns.
When it works, it works.
And when it works, it works. So who do you have in this possible NFC championship game preview, Doug?
I think the Packers, because I think they're going to be without 3 wide receivers, the Buccaneers. I think they're not going to have Godwin, Jones, or Mike Evans. So I don't think Leonard Fournette can do it all. He's shown he's already had a slow start to the season. It's just going to be more added pressure on him. I think Green Bay takes this one.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. In not only that, do Tampa Bay have a lack of weapons kind of going into it, and we've seen them kind of stutter a little bit. Lots of field goals in their opening 2 games, 4 consecutive to start Week 1 against Dallas, and a very close game against the Saints, which, even though that always seems to be the case, got a couple touchdowns there late. But Green Bay's ability to possess the ball using both those check down running backs that are just going to wear you down, even with Tampa Bay's great defense, I think will keep Tampa Bay's offense limited. And then with the lack of resources, I think they won't be able to keep up with the Packers offense.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys. Mike Evans said he was just protecting Tom Brady. I'm sure Tom Brady would have rather he didn't protect him. I think he would have been fine. No one's gonna hit Tom Brady like that. Mike Evans is just making an excuse for making a bonehead play.
Yeah.
And I think they're really gonna miss him, and they won't have enough to outpace the Packers. I think it'll be close. It's Tom Brady. He's not gonna. But yeah, I'm going Packers.
All right, there we go. Trey Lance with a sad season-long injury that puts Jimmy G back where he started as the starter in San Francisco, coming in there and just looking like his old self, throwing for 150 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions, managing that game and managing that great team to a win. Exactly right. Taking on Denver here. With Russell Wilson and that offense that we thought could get going right from the get-go. It seems like it's stuttering a little bit. Who do you have in this one with Jimmy G versus Russell Wilson in Mile High Denver?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good game. Like, Russell Wilson might find his pace here, finally look like himself again. He hasn't looked like himself at the start of the season. I think the 49ers win. I think Jimmy G continues what he did last week. He's not going to try anything too difficult. He's just going to run first offense, But I think the 49ers, they made it to the NFC Championship game. They're a solid team with this quarterback. It looks brilliant from the 49ers head coaches that they kept on to Jimmy G, because it sure as hell didn't going into this season, just having a $25 million backup quarterback. But yeah, they got him back. It's sad for Trey Lance. I think they win this game. I don't think Wilson is comfortable enough to find his stride this week. It'll happen, of course, but
I think he does find it this week.
Yeah,
is it enough to take the win?
I think so. I think 2 weeks is enough for Russell Wilson to have bad, not looking like himself. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I think he figures it out this week.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. I'd like to believe that Russell Wilson will get back into form with the weapons that they have. I mean, you see what Tua's doing in Miami with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and you throw Jerry Jeudy, who some consider is, equal or even better than Waddle out of Alabama with what he was able to do in college. And you have Russell Wilson, which I'm sure everyone would have as an upgrade to Tua, with a great, pair of backs helping him out, and being at home. Just doesn't seem like they will keep kind of stuttering throughout the entire game. But San Francisco seems like with Jimmy G, the whole team just kind of knows what they need to do. They have a plan. They have a formula that gets wins. They rode it all the way to the NFC Championship game. They've played in a Super Bowl together. So I think this one is definitely going to be close and tight. And in a tight game, I will give Russell Wilson at home probably the edge. So let's go Broncos.
That's fair.
With our pick here at the webcast as we enter our last game Monday night. The Cowboys with the bounce back win when everyone thought they were dead and buried, versus the team that everyone had dead and buried entering the season, the Giants. At home, who do you got in this one, Doug?
Oh, come on, Giants. Keep rolling. I would love to see Saquon have a phenomenal game. He deserves it. Injury-ridden career so far. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's the best player on the field whenever he's on the field. Daniel Jones, he has his glimpses. I'd like to see him, find his stride. But I think they have a chance against this game. I think their offensive line's a little bit better than the Bengals. But we'll see. If they can get the running game going, I think that they take this game.
Yeah, I mean, what a great start to the season, starting off 2-0. Saquon Barkley, Penn State versus Micah Parsons on the defensive end there for the Cowboys. Penn State, who do you got in the battle of the Nittany Lions?
I think Dak being out hurts them this week, and they start to notice that they need their guy. Yeah, I think the Giants win this one because of that. I think they're going to start to miss Dak this week.
Roll, Giants, roll in the battle of the NFC East here. I mean, what a weird division every single year. We haven't had a back-to-back winner of the division since 2004, and that team went to the Super Bowl. So unless the Cowboys can pull it off, then I think they would make the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback when Dak comes back healthy. So I will go with the G-Men here in this one as well. And that completes our picks here for week 3. We do all of our picks live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. NFL on Tuesday, EPL on Wednesday, and college football on Fridays at 7 p.m. Make your ESPN Pick'em accounts nice and easy and pick along with us as we go. I did the picks last week by myself. Thanks, guys. And we went 8-8. So
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we'll have better luck this week now that I'm joined back with Doug and our first in-house guest, Jacob. Thanks for coming on and being a part of it. Tomorrow, we are back with soccer at 7 p.m. live. There will be no pick'em tomorrow because we are on international break, which is when the soccer world in Europe takes a 2-week break to allow all of its players to go play with its national team. And in this case, the U.S. will be playing 2 games, one against Japan in Germany and another against Saudi Arabia in Spain in these next 2 weeks as they tune up and get ready for the World Cup that will be starting in November. So Doug and I tomorrow will be taking you through the U.S. men's national team, World Cup formatting, and everything you need to know to get yourself hyped and ready and pumped for the U.S.'s return to the World Cup as they travel to Qatar in November. So come and join us tomorrow, 7 p.m. to learn all about that. And then we will see you on Friday for the college football pick'em. So that's when we will return to the picks. In the description, you will see the link to Smiley Sports Artwork. They do all of our artwork that you see behind us and in our thumbnails. Great work there. So go check out her page. And for all of us at the webcast, I'm Adam, our guest Jacob, and our co-host Doug. We will see you tomorrow.
See you guys.